Hello, you beautiful people. Welcome. I am so thrilled to see you all. Um, I find these gatherings really extraordinary. And as I say over and over and over, this is a roadmap for the world. What we are all doing together is, is an incredibly powerful tool to bring greater peace and unity to the world as we work so hard to help each other. And I just wanted to start off with a quick thank you to Arthur because I've never met anybody like you, Arthur. And this, what you have created with all of our help, yes, but what you have created is so extraordinary. I'm beyond inspired. At the end of every meeting, it really takes me days to take it all in. I don't even know if you guys realize what you're doing and how important it is. So thank you all. And please take in that gratitude. It's really what creates more and more happiness. So it's nice to have a smaller group for a change. We can do something a little bit different. I would like to invite you all to uh, tell us your name, where you are, excuse me for a second, why you're here, and three words, because we're smaller, we can do a little bit more. Three words that describe yourself, describe you, and they can be nouns or verbs or adjectives or anything. And maybe three words to describe where you're at now. So there's a difference. Basically, three words of who you are and three words of how you're feeling right now. So my name is Brenda. I'm in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Spring is finally coming, though it's still a bit cool. And I'm here to help, like all of us. I am the founder of a human and media platform called The Village, and it is a place for people all over the world to gather together to share their stories, to weave our stories together to change the world, which is kind of what we're doing here, because there's so many people from so many different places. Three words to describe me. This morning I felt it, and that is the name of my blog, which is Burns the Fire. I chose that name because my grandmother used to call me Brenta Firel in Yiddish. It comes from a very famous, very old Yiddish song. And three words to describe how I feel now is a little bit frazzled, happy, happy, happy to see you, and deeply inspired. Arthur, would you like to go next?
Sure. So my three words to start with is um, I think amazing, because I keep being amazed at what's happening. And fortunately or unfortunately, I had to kind of like disappear for a little bit and go to Tijuana, Mexico, to help locally here, just 2 hours from me. And I keep being amazed at the work that people self-organize and do, and all of the support that Mexican people do, and just show up in. And it's one thing to see Slavic people, Europeans helping out, and the other thing, completely different nations, half a world away. So I think amazing is the state of my heart and mind right now. I think the other one is also overwhelmed, and then um, I think sustainability, because we're all thinking what's next and for how long this is going to go, and how do we ensure that all the good work keeps going when it needs to.
Yeah, beautifully said, Archel. Thank you so much. And I will add to that that it seems to me that a huge part of this story, again, is what we are doing here. And that, I believe, will help sustain this for a long time to come. Tom,
Good morning, everybody. I'm joining you from Far Rockaway, New York this morning. I'm at a client on a job. I turn companies around for a living. I think I'm repeating myself from last meeting, but that's what I do for work, and crisis management from a financial cash flow perspective. Where I'm at, I'm really concerned, as everybody is. I did research, and that's how I ended up with this group. I like the people. I think you have a lot of gray matter. I'm sure I have the lowest IQ on this call. A lot of computer people, it seems, and systems people, which is terrific. But from my perspective, what's important is that we lay an infrastructure down that can continue this process for decades. That's what it's going to take. My background is fixing problems from a financial operational point of view. So as I said last time, I'm giving the services of myself and my firm for free for as long as it takes.
Tom, music to our ears. Thank you. Rachel O.
Hi there. Okay, my 3 words about me would be passionate, creative, and determined. I'm a school teacher in England. I'm on my school holidays and I'm currently in Warsaw volunteering. And I think the words to describe how I'm feeling right now are maybe a little bit lost, a little bit, very frustrated, mostly with the UK government, and a little bit overwhelmed. So I just arrived 2 days ago, and I've spent the last couple of days really trying to find out for myself what is what here and trying to make contact with different people. I'm working and staying with a Canadian not-for-profit called Pathfinders, who are trying to support people who want to resettle in Canada, and they're mapping out information about different Canadian cities and supporting people with their visa applications. I'd like to be able to do something similar for people applying for the UK, and I've got lots of contacts with people in the UK who are sponsoring people, but the general feeling is just that the paperwork and bureaucracy that's happening because of our government is what's causing people to be held back, and so that's quite frustrating. And I think there are a lot of Ukrainians who would receive a really warm welcome when they get to the UK, but are maybe being put off because they have nowhere to stay for potentially 6 weeks while they're waiting for their visa to be processed. So I'm trying to think outside the box a bit. I'm trying to make contact with friends across Europe, seeing if we can find places that they can stay outside of Poland, because Poland is full while they're waiting for their visas to go through. And just trying to do what I can, really.
Thank you so much, Rachel. I was reading this morning about kids and school. That's a whole other issue, right? Thank you. Beautiful. Victoria,
Ukraine
would you like to join
live
us?
podcast.
Sorry, who's
Podcast.
speaking? Who's speaking, please? Maybe you have if you could turn your audio off when you're not speaking. Thank you so much. Victoria, would you like to join us?
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me? Is Wilson still talking?
No.
Okay. Yes, I'm with Open Source Medical Supplies, and from an organizational standpoint, everything that's going on, from what I can tell with Ukraine now, is pretty much following the exact same pattern of decentralized manufacturing that we helped organize and structure during the COVID crisis. We wrote a white paper on that. If anyone wants to pick my brain about organizational structure, please feel free to reach out. Most of it comes down to creating nodes and managing nodes. From our work in Ukraine, I'm pretty much still focusing on the Ukraine project for OSMS. I've had a lot of calls this morning with groups in country, still focused on mapping needs we're not working on food, shelter, evacuation, or commercial medical. We are working on what needs to be fabricated. So we are creating power banks, demining tools, 3D printing needs, and we're finding out where those needs are and how to fill them. So I'm still learning even today of new groups that are doing distributed manufacturing for the effort. I have a lot of moving parts that are going on, and I'm just seeing how I can help in any way. But I'm very, very, very deeply connected to the underground networks in Ukraine.
Okay, Victoria, thank you so much. I hope you've put your contacts in the chat for everybody to see. Welcome and thank you.
Thank you, Victoria. And I would love to, if you could send a link to the white paper. I sent you guys a link from a 2020 experience with COVID that we had. And yeah, would love to exchange those. Thank you.
All right, I will drop the link in here. Nice to meet you, Artur.
Wonderful. Kat.
Hi, everyone. It's really nice to meet you. I will start with the 3 words that you asked for to describe myself. I would say I'm determined, relentless, and extremely passionate. And how I'm feeling right now is emotional and brokenhearted, but inspired. I'm going to share a little bit about what I do, and I'm going to try not to word vomit all over you guys because I don't want to make it too lengthy, but I'm a European citizen. I moved to the States when I was 16, and I work in LA right now as an executive producer for large scale events. So we put on some of the largest events that are in the US. And during COVID, we shut down. Our industry was impacted, obviously, heavily. And we pivoted and we built overnight an emergency response team, and we started deploying our assets that we would usually use to build our music festivals and the Grammys and the Oscars and the Coachellas and the Grand Prix. And instead we sent it to hospitals, and we built overflow centers, triage rooms, etc. I've been following this invasion since February 24th. I was just glory to Ukraine, Slava Ukraini. So I have been just absolutely doomsday scrolling since February 24th on Reddit, like probably many of you have. I had an alarm set on my phone of when sunrise was in Kiev, just so I could check in on the live cameras to see if it was still standing. Just so emotional. And so I decided to pack up my stuff and come out here. I landed in Warsaw yesterday. So hello from Poland. I'm starting my journey here. I relentlessly tapped into all of my great connections that I have, that I'm blessed to have through my company. I called Chef Jose Andres with World Central Kitchen, who got me connected with their team. They are incredible. If you guys want to support them, they do fantastic work. I'll be teaming up with them on one of the borders here. I have gotten in touch with PAH, which is the Polish Humanitarian Association out here. Wonderful people. I meet them at their headquarters tomorrow to formulate a plan with their whole team. I am lucky enough to have the support of the Los Angeles Times. They are documenting my story. I'm going to drop the link into this chat right here. Hopefully this gains some momentum. I started a fundraiser. 100% of proceeds go to the refugees and to my efforts here. I'm self-funded. I personally need no support. And with teaming up with the organizations that I found, with talking to people like you, I just hope to network and spread out. I've also been tapped into some underground organizations that are very, very efficient in getting supplies to the front lines in Ukraine within under 48 hours. I know we're not distributing sensitive information here, so I'm gonna hold that off, but people can ask me privately if they need to, and I will give you guys my contact info. So nice to meet you all. Thanks for giving me the floor for a minute, and I look forward to meeting the rest of you right now.
Thanks, Kat. And definitely please share your email. I would love to speak to you about the physical fundraiser in LA that we're about to run, and obviously connect with you in terms of the on-the-ground operations in Poland. Thank you.
Yowza. Thank you, Kat. Amazing stuff. Love it. Asher, welcome back.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
So I have my headphones, don't have a speaker, and I'm in a hostel now. So the 3 words is probably hopeful, revitalizing, and trying to center myself, even though that's not one word, but to center myself. I arrived in Warsaw yesterday. Tomorrow I'm heading over to the border with some contacts I have there. I see Kat and Rachel before were saying they're in Warsaw. So more than happy to touch base and connect in person. It makes it a little bit easier. Kat, I've not on your level, but I've done a lot of work. So I'm usually a DJ and run events and nightclubs in Australia, but now I'm heading over to help probably as an interpreter. I speak English. My Russian is coming back very quickly. Within the first 10 minutes of being in Warsaw at the hostel, there was 2 old ladies who came by who needed help with directions to some place that had already offered them a place to go to stay, but they didn't know where it was. And the lady working at the hostel didn't speak Russian. And I'd just gotten out of the taxi and I overheard, and I could translate just to point them in the right direction. And 5 minutes later, checking in, there's a girl from Ukraine, Anya, who I've met. And her English isn't so good and could help with the check-in, just explaining what they were saying. And it's how I know I'm on the right path. And I think being an interpreter, I can be helpful and I have contacts and still working out the best way to do it. But for the people in Warsaw, Kat, Rachel, I've already emailed you, Kat, I will. And yeah, keep like Artur, what you've created is amazing. I'd be doing this anyway, but doing it with the help of the connections that you have made means I can be more effective, be more efficient, instead of walking around like a headless chicken for a day or two going, oh, what do I do? I have real actionable people that I can work with and move forward. The last Zoom, I was in the airport, I wasn't part of for long, but the one before that is 5 contacts that I'm in touch with to send media back to on the ground. So I thank you. And I think that's it from me. Guys, keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you, Asher. And as some of you who have been with us before know, acts of kindness is a theme that we want to repeat. And normally when we have the time and we're in a smaller group, we tell stories about acts of kindness. And I love that little story of getting out of the cab and hearing 2 women speak, and then suddenly your Russian comes rushing back to you. Beautiful, beautiful. I'm sure they were very grateful.
To add to that, the highlight of my day today has been just playing foosball with a child in the reception centre. He was just trying to play it on his own, and I, had a frustrating warning of not being able to communicate with adults. But foosball is an international language, right? So that was really lovely.
I brought little koalas from Australia to be able to give to children because I'm not great at children, but they're little plush toys and they look cute, and it's a way to connect because children shouldn't have to be going through this. It's playing football with that kid, I'm sure, made a difference. Sorry to interrupt.
Not at all. Thanks, Asher. Thank you, Rachel. Beautiful. Rebecca, welcome back.
Hello again. I'm thrilled to hear that I could maybe just play foosball with, I'm also not good with children. That's just not my strong point, but I could totally play some foosball. I am in Phoenix, Arizona. I just talked to Olga last night and I'm excited about getting involved. I'm a do-gooder. I help, that's what I do. I had another word I thought of and then I lost it almost immediately because I'm 50 and I have no memory at this point. What I do in work is I manage logistics and operational, the people, places, things. I put things together and get them all going in the same direction, whether they want it or not. The non-technical term is herding cats. I'm really good at herding cats. And I work well in chaos. I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but when the shit hits the fan, that's usually when I'm doing my best work. So, I really wanted to be able to use that in a positive way in Ukraine. So I really liked Kat's 3 words. Her 3 words were exactly what I wanted. Like, I'm like fired up. They say that the chemical response in your body is the same for excitement and fear, and then we label the response. And so I'm feeling all of those things, but I'm not sure if it's excitement or fear. So I'm very excited to be involved, and I can't wait to be useful.
Thank you, Rebecca. Just lovely. I always use the expression fearless and full of fear.
Right, exactly.
You know, that's the paradox of life, right?
Exactly.
We're so scared, but we're also fearless.
Yeah.
Speaking of, Tetiana.
Hey. Hi all. So I'm also on the founding team of the village, and that's how we are connected with Brenda, and she invited me here. So it's really great to be here. I am originally from Ukraine, but prior to the war, I lived in California. My family is in Ukraine. My dad is in the Ukrainian army. So I flew back to Poland and then to Ukraine to just be there for my family, like my sister, my mom, my dad, my country. And right now I'm supporting my dad and his unit. They need a lot of things, and sometimes you would be really surprised what the basic things they need. So they don't even have boots or raincoats or whatever. So like I have a list of things that we need, and I'll share with you guys. So if you could support, that would be great. And also, if anyone is in Ukraine, please reach out to me. I know it's, you know, it's a welcoming country. There's so many people coming, and it's just like a melting pot right now. But obviously, like if you want to have somebody there, I'll share with you my contact information. And the 3 words for me is grateful, grateful, and grateful. I'm so grateful for all of your support, and it just, these meetings are like so amazing, and it makes me really hopeful about the future and everything.
So beautifully said. Hopeful about humanity, right? Hopeful about people. We see who said they were doom scrolling, right? We see all this doom and gloom, but what's happening here? This is alive. This is humanity at our best. Guido, welcome.
Hi, thank you. All. I'm Guido. I'm a photojournalist currently in the Netherlands. About 3 weeks ago, I did bring a full bus of relief goods to somewhere east of Warsaw, from where it was distributed into Ukraine by a local network over there. And currently, I am pondering whether or not I should come back to Ukraine to tell the story about what's happening there.
Yes. 3 words?
3 words. I don't know yet. Okay. It's emotional. It's emotional.
I think we hear that and share that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Guido.
Thank you.
And for your desire to document. We need that, not just for now, for the future.
Well, I hope I can get the how do you call it, the publications that will eventually use my images, and that I can find some people over there, perhaps via underground networks, that can direct me to the places where it happens.
Yeah. Great. Thank you.
We'll wait for that.
Maria, welcome back. Now I know how to read your name.
Hello. I'm sorry, I very bad English yet. I learn Russian, Ukrainian. That's okay. I'm glad to see you.
How are you today?
Today I'm Turkey, in Turkish.
You're in Turkey. How
In
are you
Turkey.
feeling? How are you?
My parents, my brother, his children in Ukrainian. How I feel.
Understood.
Terrible.
Yes, understood. Thank you, Maria. Thank you for being here. Alex,
Yes, hello. I was actually pretty alarmed to be here because I didn't really expect to get in here, and I thought that the Zoom is canceled. So I just had it open somewhere, and at some point I just heard the voices. So yeah, so now I'm here. It happened like that. I'm 16. I am a student from Kiev, and currently I relocated. I fled to Warsaw, and currently I'm just trying to find time to work. I'm a designer, also a developer, and I try to help. First of all, I work in my projects. I study, and at the same time, I help. There's a volunteer company, organization named Plato in Lviv. I used to work with them before the war, and still staying in touch with them right now. And yes, and I registered for Ukraine Now at Slack. Haven't really got to do any work yet, but hoping to be helpful in the future sometime. Actually, when we first got to Warsaw, I was actively we got to this like a school gym where all of the refugees were relocated, and I was trying to help to do my best there, and I helped them as a translator because I knew both Russian, Ukrainian, not both, but all three languages, Russian, Ukrainian, and English. And currently, because I relocated, there is not much of physical work that I can do here to help. And lack of time really affects my schedule. But I try to do my best, and I think Ukraine Now is like the way for me to help somebody right now, really, because the online is the only way right now to help. So I want to thank you for the platform. I've just found it, and I thought that this is just so amazing that I've just saw so many people just gathering there and actively sending messages, sending like requests. Like somebody goes there, somebody guides somebody. It's just so awesome to see. I can drop you my email in a second after I talk, so that if you need any design, anything, you can reach out to me. Yes. So this is it. I think 3 words would be busy, because I'm really busy right now. Conscious, because I get firsthand news, and I study history, and I know what's happening right now, and I track all of that, and I try to help those people. And I see all of the news, and I think consciousness is a key right now to improve and be more helpful in terms of helping refugees and Ukrainians overall. And third word, I think that dedicated, because I try to squeeze in studying in my schedule and self-studying as well, because half of the classes, they just some teachers don't have internet, some do not have access to schooling, to teaching. So I just try to do my best right now, and I'm thankful for the platform, really.
Alex, we're thankful for you. Wow, 16, man. Whew. Something. Thank you for everything you're doing.
Yeah, thank you.
Samin, welcome.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Thank you, Brenda. Thank you for having me here, and I will be very quick. I was driving when you were introducing and asking for the rules. So what was the rules? 3 words to introduce myself and 3 words on how I feel.
Not so much words as suggestions, encouragements, prompts. Where you are, your name, where you are, why you're here, and 3 words to describe yourself and how you feel.
Sure.
Could be 6 words.
Thank you. So my name is Samim Munzavian. I am the founder and CEO of Centigram. I was a refugee at some point in my life, and I was an immigrant twice in my life. And the reason I built Centigram was to enable people to receive help and support regardless of where they are. Because I was born in Yemen. Yemen is a very poor country right now and is going through huge problems. I was lucky that my family left Yemen in '97, and I ended up in Australia, and then I live in Canada now for 20 years. Artur connected with me through LinkedIn when he heard about Centigram working with the Ministry of Social Policy of Ukraine. And I couldn't be happier to hear from him, because I cannot say how proud I am of what you guys are doing. And to be part of this, it's actually an honor to be among you. And I hope that we can help, and Centigram can help. About how I feel sad. I feel sad because of the situation and what is happening to people. But I also feel motivated, because I believe there is a solution. There is help coming very soon. And last one is I'm determined. I'm very determined that we have to do it. There's nothing will stop us. We are a small startup, but we are doing something that Visa and MasterCard couldn't do yet. So it's very exciting.
Isn't it? Wow, Samin, all respect to you. So honored to have you with us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Honor is mine.
Roman, hello, would you like to join us? Roman? Okay, I'll move over to Ed Roman. If you suddenly want to join, please let us know. Oh yes, and Rachel is asking Samin for a web link for Centigram. Yes, great. Simona, are you here? Okay. So listen, we don't have a lot of time left, but as my interest is continuing to weave our stories together, I'd like to just sort of maybe throw out the floor and ask if anybody has a story they might like to share, of a short story of an act of kindness. We've already got a couple, and I'd like to see if there are any acts of kindness that just pop into your mind suddenly.
Yeah, I just want to say this call is an act of kindness.
Yes, exactly. Yes. Okay, I'm going to tell a little story. Maybe it'll jog you guys, it'll prompt you guys. My husband had been very sick and was going through what turned out to be a week of ridiculous pain. And for any of you who have been with people that you love who are in pain, it's so difficult. And finally, things started getting better at the end of the week, and I left the house and I was feeling very shaky and very vulnerable and strangely alone. And I went to the pharmacy and I stood in line and I called my best friend who's in Toronto. And we had a little chat as I waited to pick up some meds for my husband. And at the end I said, and I remember like my voice was weak and I just felt so weak, so exposed. And at the end of the call, just before I got to the cashier, I said, "I love you, talk to you soon." And then I got in front of the cashier and she looked at me right in the eyes and she said, do you love me? I've never met that woman before. And I looked her back right in the eyes, and I felt this energy coursing between the two of us. And I said, I do. And then she smiled, and I said, do you love me? And she looked right into my soul again, and I felt that like a warm river between us. And she said, I do. And I walked out of that pharmacy a different person. I was loved, and I felt loved, and I was buoyed, and I was energized. And it made me really realize that you can love a stranger. So that's not my act of kindness, her act of kindness. Who'd like to go next? Or if, yes, Asher, and then Kat.
So my act of kindness is not my own, and it's more a representation. And the Wi-Fi is a bit iffy out here, but right next door to the hostel. I don't know if you can see just over the side. There's a
You're breaking up, Asher, but we can see the window.
I think he's frozen now. That's great. I mean, we have seen those colors.
Sorry, the Wi-Fi cuts out if I get too far away, but there's a flag. They're everywhere here, and what Poland's doing to help is amazing, and it just inspires me to do more. And the act of kindness is Poland, and what they're doing, it's amazing.
Yes, isn't it? Thanks, Asher. Kat.
Yeah, I'll share what inspired me last night, and it made me incredibly emotional, and I hope I don't get too emotional saying it again, but by the way, what Asher's saying is so right. Every single flagpole in the city, and there are a lot of flagpoles in the city, now have two flags on them. There is the Ukrainian flag next to the Polish flag. They're on buses, they're on houses, they're on street lamps, and it's amazing. But last night when I first arrived here, I stood in the city, and so I'm also an immigrant. I've lived in several countries throughout Europe, but I've never been to Poland. And standing in Warsaw and knowing what the German raising did to this city in 1944, and that 90% of this city was destroyed, and being able to stand in it and look around and see the culture here still, and feel the history, and see how the people have come back so strong and so caring and kind. Every person I've met here so far has been just beautiful inside and out, and seeing how they've come back in such a strong way, and that it feels so authentic. I just know that Ukraine will get there too. And I find that inspiring, and I'm really just hoping we can fast forward to get to that part, but Ukraine will rebuild, and Ukraine will remain authentically Ukrainian and badass, and that's what they are, and the culture will go unwavered, and I'm just really proud of everybody that's helping achieve that.
Thank you, Kat. Thank you so much. Next time we have a small call like this with not too many people, when we have more time, we can. I would invite you all to respond to each other as well. Who'd like to go next? Acts of kindness. Arthur.
So I would like to share a story that is very emotional. But so yesterday, me and my wife, we actually drove back from Tijuana back to LA because the family called us, and the family is a father and mother, and they have a kid, disabled kid, 6 years old. They crossed almost a week ago, and someone got them into this Hilton hotel program where Kimpton Hotel hosted them, which is a fancy hotel. It is in the middle of Hollywood, which is the crazy place, but they called us because they had nowhere to go. The hotel was ending, and they had $200 in their pocket that someone gave them when they were crossing. And basically, you know, they reached out because they needed help. And we drove, and somehow, and I'm a strong believer in universe randomness for a purpose, we live just 2 minutes away from that place. And we drove to their hotel. We, you know, got the dinner right there at the hotel, fed them, heard their story, heard, you know, how crazy it was, because they're from Kharkiv, and they were leaving the first week when the bombings were happening. And all of that, just listening to all of that and just telling them that we'll help them whatever they need. And you know, they invited us to their room to show their because they're at the top floor, and if you're in we're in Hollywood, you can see the whole, you know, thing, and it's very beautiful. And they were kind of sharing that moment with us. And at the end of it, the guy just said that you can have the watch. And I'll just let you guys read this story. So this is my wife.
One of the refugees gave me this watch. I couldn't even imagine how it would feel when people have nothing and they're giving at least something as thank you. I love gifts so much, but this one was so hard to accept. I said 3 times, I can't accept it, that it's us helping them, not another way around. He literally took my hand and put this watch. Let's just take that in for a moment. Thank you, Archer. That's so beautiful. Wilson, and then Tatiana.
Hello, everybody. I don't know if anybody can hear me.
Yes.
Thank you, Brenda, for having this. Last week, I was in the middle of a patient, so I really didn't have the ample time to be able to say hello to everybody. My name is Wilson Santana. I'm from the state of New Jersey. We're trying to get boots on the ground in order to do humanitarian aid. I work out of an ambulance in one of the major hospitals in the state of New Jersey. My heart is in humanitarian aid. We're trying to get a group of men, prior military soldiers, to get boots on the ground to see if we can do anything to help, whether it's give water or give shelter or work in the hospital field. If anybody's out there, I left my email on the text. If anybody's out there and knows anyone that we can actually go and land in Poland and maneuver into Ukraine or in the outskirts of Ukraine in order, like triage in the field hospital. That's our specialty. We're passionate about helping people who are in need. This, I believe, and I don't want to sound too political, this should have never happened, but there are a lot of people suffering and we need to get more boots on the ground in order to help. Again, we're passionate, we're prior military, and we would love to be able to help anybody out there that needs help in any aid possible that we can give. This has nothing to do with you being a Russian citizen or a Ukraine citizen or speaking a language. It's humanitarian. I guess that's about it. I hope someone can reach out to me. They told me that I can, we could contact the Polish embassy, I believe it is, in order to try and get through passports landing in Poland or Germany. I've made some contacts with some of my military friends in Berlin. Wish us luck. Keep us always in prayer. Keep this nation in prayer, and Ukraine and all the people that are helpless. That's about it.
Thank you, Wilson. Thank you so much. Great to have you here. Tatiana.
Yeah, so I just mentioned that I'm helping out my dad's unit with different supplies and just like people bring me like t-shirts and whatever. And like in the evening, I meet these guys, and give them whatever I have. And yesterday I had a meeting with Brenda and I was like, Brenda, sorry, I really need to run because they are calling me and they need something from me. So I just like, sorry, and I disappeared. But basically like this time I walked into the street and here are these guys, 3 guys, and they are like, oh, we actually don't need anything from you, but we want to surprise you. We bought some pizza and we want to go with you to the park and eat that pizza. And it was just like so wonderful. Like, they drove me to this park and, we were like eating the pizza together. And then there was like a cat and they were feeding a cat with that pizza and we were laughing. And there were like some people who were moved from Eastern Ukraine and they just like witnessed that moment and they were like, this is so amazing to see, like, a woman laughing, like standing with the Ukrainian soldiers. And it's just like, I felt like so human and so normal. And these people, like, they are not just like military people. They are just, regular guys who just want to joke and have a good time and, eat pizza. So they were like, oh, this is the first time we got out of the base. And so that was really nice.
Wow. Great story. Thank you. It's, as often in the hardest moments where we feel our deepest humanity. Anybody else want to share a moment, a story of an act of kindness? Samin, I bet you've got some.
Yes. So I wanted to share with you what happened. It's a few weeks ago. So we connected with a gentleman in Romania who's helping the refugees, the Ukrainian refugees. Sorry, there is a noise coming from Wilson's side, if you don't mind, Wilson.
If you're not speaking, please turn off your audio. Thank you. Can you start again, please?
Sure. So we are connecting with people who are helping refugees as well. And one of the people was in Romania. And he mentioned to me that we are helping people here. So I told him, if you know any refugee who's in Romania, because Centigram is live there, let them know that they can download our app and just pass us their username. And a few weeks ago, he connected someone to me and said, this person just downloaded the app. So I shared the username with my network of friends. And I don't know if I can share my screen. Is it possible to share my screen so I can show you something?
No. I can't because it's Arthur can do that. Arthur, are you there?
I think he'd be able to now.
Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Yes, I can. Yes. So I'm going to share quickly here. So this was the chat when he told me that she's a refugee in Romania. I'm helping her to get a refugee visa status for Canada. And then I told him a few days later, last month, and I said, Katerina will wake up really surprised today. She has some amount in her account. And what actually happened is my friends and they actually went and sent her gifts directly. And I'm sharing with you her profile here. Please don't share that, but just wanted to show you that these strangers, 4 complete strangers, sent her centigrams directly to her account. And then I asked him the next day, was there any, did she tell you anything? Did she get surprised or something that she received close to $60 in Canadian support from complete strangers? And he said, oh, maybe she's busy because she's getting her status. And then when I scroll down, this is what he said. She said she's very happy. She's keeping them for Canada. She got her visa and now looking for jobs in Canada. So she's realizing that, hey, if I can use it in Canada, then I'll just keep it for now. But it just, the part that I'm very excited about is that how complete strangers are willing to give to somebody who they have no idea who they are or where they are, but they only know one thing, that person is in a tough situation and they need help. And that's what I believe is really beautiful about humanity, when people remember their humanity. That's all I wanted to share. Thank you.
Samin, that's great. Great story. I want to encourage you guys to really keep your eyes, your hearts, your minds open to these acts of kindness. Look for them, feel them, and then share them. Because while we're seeing the worst in humanity, we also know the best. And that's what's rising up. And that's
Can I say something real quick? I just had a thought pop into my head on what the gentleman said about the hotels. A lot of people I know, including myself, and I'll be to step up on this, is that I accumulate a lot of hotel points that I doubt I'll ever use, just because I travel a lot. So maybe we can figure out a way to pool those together so people can use them. I don't know. I mean, I'll contact somebody offline, maybe you, Brenda, give you my information, and we'll coordinate on how to use up those points. But I have a fair amount. So if there's a family coming from, Europe to the United States and they need to stay at a Hampton Inn, or a couple of other ones. But I think with the professional network we're dealing with, there's got to be people with a ton of points, airline points too.
fantastic idea.
Yeah.
Great idea. I agree.
I have a favor to ask Brenda and Artur, if you guys, and if everybody on this call is willing, I know you're recording this session. If before we jump off, and if everybody's okay with being on screen, I would actually like to feature this organization on the documentation of the journey that the LA Times is doing. So if everybody can do a wave to the camera or something before we get off, I would like to just push more information out there and give some extra exposure to what you guys are doing. So if everyone's willing, that would be amazing.
Thank you so much, Kat. And we can send you the recording. You can forward it to LA Times journalists.
Yeah, perfect.
And you want to take a screenshot? Is that what you're also saying at the end? Yes?
I want just because they just feature short clips within videos. So if everyone just waves to the camera, or, we have that moment that I can pull and send to them. We can also feature the name of the organization on there. And I think that might be really powerful.
Let's do it now instead of waiting till the end.
Let's do it right now.
Basically, say cheese to the camera.
Say cheese to the camera.
Everybody say cheese. Whoops.
Beautiful. I love it. Thank you.
Thanks, Kat. Love how you're thinking.
Yeah, thanks, Kat, because the awareness is key. And the more people have in terms of the centralized efforts that they can support, that then, spread to individual volunteers, that's the key. Because even in terms of media, people are not really clear where to, donate. And again, after big organizations were proven not that effective, it was clear that it's up to individuals and smaller groups to do that support, which is key.
Absolutely. Which is genius. I guess I just want to throw this out there that at the Village, the human and media platform that I talked about, we were not planning on launching right yet, but we're going to be launching soon, sort of a soft launch. And our inaugural project is called Hearts of Ukraine. And I hope that you guys will all be in it, and to spread this incredibly illuminating, uplifting inspiration with the world, so that more and more people will be inspired to do what you guys are all doing, or what we are all doing. It's life-changing, I think, and some of us sense that this is what might be called the Great Turning or the Great Transformation. So I see this as the ground central for the Great Transformation, where we start to learn to sort of build bridges to each other and focus on the whole as opposed to the isolated individual. So thank you so much.
Yeah, Brenda, just let me, I think we need to get it out there that we need these hotel points, the more that I
Yes,
think about
okay,
it. So
so-
if somebody, a blast right away to get these hotel points. I would contact Hilton, Ritz-Carlton, everybody, ask them to give that option to somebody when they check in. You know, do
Hey,
you
Tom,
want to
do
donate?
you want to just email me and we'll coordinate on that?
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry for interrupting, but things pop into my head and I'm old and I
Perfect.
lose them right away, so I interrupt. I apologize.
Okay.
Not at all.
Hotel
Not at
points
all.
and airline prices, there's got to be a billion.
Yeah, not at all. It's great. And you might know that Airbnb, I mean, people have been donating money to Airbnb so that refugees have places to stay in a multiplicity of cities. So there's already stuff like this going on. It's great ideas. Thank you. Is there anybody who wants to share a last thought?
I have a act of kindness story, kind of.
Of course.
Okay, actually, fact. Ukrainians had Airbnbs in Ukraine, and people from foreign countries, they didn't know how to really help, and they were actually booking those Airbnbs without actually settling in those places and financially helping those Ukrainians. I just wanted to mention that because I just remember that. So just you talking about Airbnb was reminiscent. But about act of kindness, as I've said, when we first arrived to Poland, we got to this refugee center, a huge school gym with 200 beds, and many people just trying to understand where should they go, which bus do they take, or it's a train or a taxi, or somebody goes somewhere. And there are lots and lots of people there, and a lot of stuff to do in terms of volunteering. And as I've said, I was translating and I got in touch almost instantly as we arrived with those volunteers. And there was a guy who was from Ukraine who lost his wife at the border, in terms of he just couldn't find her after crossing the border. And they could not understand him because he was half mute, and because he was pretty old of a man. And so my task was to go there and to get the information, because I could speak the language he spoke, which was Russian, and I had to get the information so that they could pass it and then try and find his wife and just connect them back together. So his story was they were actually crossing the border on foot, and then at some point people were going there on a bus, and they said they have like empty spaces and they could take someone. And so he just put his wife, like there was a huge queue to there, but he said like he tried his best to get his wife and the bus, and so he did. And then after that, he crossed the border on foot, his wife on bus, and so he was trying to find her because this situation. And when I was getting the information from him, he was really, he lost his hope, because he thought that it's not possible to do that, to find somebody like that. And he was old as well, so he really had no hope. And when I was getting his birthday, I actually realized that his birthday is actually the same day as mine. And I told him that. He didn't hear that at first, and then I repeated, and he was just so happy to hear that. Just just this coincidence of having the same day of birthday. He was just so happy that I have that and I'm helping him, and just such a coincidence. Really, it was warming to me as well. And I think they did find his wife, because they did find the information after that. I didn't stay as long as to that point when they reconnected them, but they found the information about his wife. The situation was hard because he could not remember any dates he was lost in time. He didn't know which year was it. So yeah, there are lots of people like that that just get lost at the border, or many elderly people just trying to flee. And I can't imagine how hard is it for them to to find support, not to find support, but to just settle in here. I just think it's just so hard. But with this guy, we got to talk, and he just told me his whole life story. And I think, I could see that this huge thing, he just put it off his shoulders, and he just felt much better because, as an old man, I think he didn't really get to talk to people this deeply for a long time. And I think it was just so important for him to share the story with me. As volunteers, try to help the most people they can, as much as they can, and they don't usually stop for one person like that. But I was just so happy that I did. I thought this story is like not comparable to your stories of acts of kindness, but I think it was worth sharing with you because there was just such a coincidence. And I just remember how happy he was when he realized that we have the same birthday. So yeah, thanks for listening. I really appreciate you being here. It's just such an awesome Zoom. I'm really happy that I joined. So thank you.
Alex, thank you. Jesus, what a story. Write it down, okay? You're 16.
Sure, I surely will. Yeah, I thought I just realized that it's actually a great story. A great coincidence. I definitely have to write it down.
Yes, you do. Yes.
Please do.
Thank
Just
you.
write it as an email to us, to artur@ukraina.org. We'll try to get someone to write an article or something. It's beautiful.
Okay, thank you. I will find the email, everything. Oh, I got it. Yeah, you send it. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. Oh, you guys, I just, my heart, I don't know about you, but I am feeling full up, right? Take this heart and let it strengthen you. And our next gathering is Friday at 11:30 Eastern Time. So Arthur will send out the invitation. Mark your calendars if you'd like to join us again for more inspiration, more sharing. There's always new people, every call. So don't feel shy to say what you're doing again because many people haven't heard. Thank you for everything, and I wish you a great day and keep up the great work. And thank you all.
Thanks, everyone. And it's the same link if you don't get the calendar invite. Just FYI, Google Calendar is acting weird because we have, thousands of volunteers. So apparently they're thinking we're spamming people. So just FYI. All right. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.